Hello team, welcome to the DevOps program. So today we are going to discuss about DevOps. So what is DevOps and why we need DevOps in our software development lifecycle. So before the video that we see what is SDLC and what are the type of methodology that we have in the SDLC, right? So today we jump into the next topic that we have is what is DevOps. And if you see what is DevOps, so DevOps is a software development lifecycle. It is essential a modern methodology, a software development process because it is a bridge between development and the operations. So it is kind of like a bridge where the development team they used to develop the application and the operations team they are going to release the application into the world, right? So the DevOps is nothing but like it is a bridge that we can establish a collaboration between development and the operations team, and also it ensure that a faster and more reliable software content, right? So it help SDLC efficient automating the workflow, right? So if you see here, it clearly mentioned that the first step it is like a planning phase, and the developer they used to code, and it the code that has to be built with all the dependencies, and once the build that is triggered, and then this test has to be executed. Once the test is success, then only the release will go. And once the release it is deployed into the servers, and then it can be monitored, or like it can be get all the feedback as like the continuous feedback that we will be getting, and then the monitoring team they used to see um, the continuous monitoring of the application. So once the feedback and everything that comes, and it will be directly goes into the requirement team that hey, this is what we have observed and this is the thing that we have to change it like that. So as we see in the previous video that we clearly shown that there is a business analyst or the product analyst who used to get the requirement, right? So in this thing also, what are the issues or like the changes that they wanted from the product team, they will be keep on giving the continuous feedback and the continuous monitoring on that. So the feedback can be given to the business analyst so that they can able to change in their requirement, and also based on the requirement the developer they can check, and by the design of the document they will be writing the code, and the testers they used to test the code. So yeah, that is what here it is. So this is like a development and the operations team. It will be like a bridge for both the teams. The next thing that we are going to see is what is the need of DevOps. So here we have categorized into several points, that the first one is faster software delivery, and the second one would be like improved collaboration, and the third one would be like automation and efficiency, and better quality of software, and the reliability of the software, and the scalability, security, and compliances, and continuous feedback and the improvement. So the first one that we can see, the faster time to market, right? So the software can be faster to delivered into the end users. So in this DevOps, we have two kind of workflow, that we have continuous integration and the continuous deployment. So which help us to integrate our software development lifecycle, and before we see in the phase that this is what the code and the building and the testing. So for the build, they will be using several kind of tool to build the application based on the technology they uses, and also the testing also part comes, and this is also we'll be having several tools that we uses in based out of the In this testing phase also we'll be using some other tools based on the technology that we use. So based out of that, we'll be using some other tools, and also the releases that we have, the Docker and the Kubernetes that we use. So this comes into the continuous deployment and the delivery that we have. So it is having several phases that we used to implement in our um, continuous integration and the continuous deployment workflows. Yeah, so this is what the faster software delivery we used to integrate this with continuous integration and the continuous deployment. So the second point that we are going to see is improved collaboration. So if you see what is improved collaboration, so it is nothing but like a team collaboration. Earlier, before this DevOps methodology and the Agile comes, the developer and the IT operations team, they will not be working together. They wasn't working together, all right? So they'll be having some silos. There is no improvement of the communication. So say for example, the developer, they write a code in their local machine. In that time it was working fine, but they moved this particular code into the server. In that time there are some issues that they encountered, like some dependency issue or like some environmental related issues or comes into picture, right? So those can be avoided here. So this developer and the IT team, now they are working together because of the continuous integration, the continuous deployment. So each and everything that is interrelated to it. So whatever thing they are developing, so it can be captured everywhere, so that when you take this GitHub, whenever there is a new developer they are onboarded, so also they can able to get the code into the GitHub repository. So they don't want to copy and paste it in say, any other system to the new joiner system, right? So also they are working together, so it can be breaking down the silos between them. Silos is nothing but like they are fighting together, right? So the fight can be avoided, and so it can be breaking down, and also the communication can be improved. So since it is in a flow that they can able to get it, so the improve of communication also improved. Yeah. And if you see the third one, it is automation and the efficiency. So in DevOps, we have infrastructure as a code and also configuration as a code. So infrastructure as a code, we have several tools. The one is Terraform that we are going to see, and the second one that is Ansible, which is configuration as a tool, and the CI/CD pipeline that is eliminated the manual processes, right? So the automation and the efficiency. So these three tool can be improve our infrastructure automation and also the software delivery and the development automation more efficiently, right? And the next one would be like higher software quality. So since automating the testing, that easily ensure that we can detect the bug early and we can avoid the bug, so that uh, this can be this can avoid to lead the um, uh, application crash or any vulnerability related thing also. So this can be lead to scale and reliable releases without any issue. So this is what the higher software quality and the reliability. So the next one would be like scalability. So say for example, if you have a application that is running in a single server, whether the single server that goes down, right? In that case, you don't have any redundancy. So in order to avoid that, we used to scale our application. So we have a approach that cloud native approaches, where the application can be containerized and it can scale, and also we can easily able to monitor the application and ensure the application that runs efficiently at any scale of the point, right? So monitoring, they will monitor whether the application is running or not. If the application that crashes, then it help the application to restart again. If it is not running, then it will scale the application into the another set of instance. Or like if you have a heavy traffic or something, it's coming. Maybe in that case also you can able to scale up the resources. So we'll be having two kind of scaling. The one is horizontal scaling and the vertical scaling. So either the way we can able to scale it with the resource, also with the instance. So the next one would be like security and the compliances. So in a traditional DevOps methodology, the DevOps can be integrated with set of tools to find the vulnerability and ensure, and it can address the issues, related issues proactively. Okay, so we are going to see many tools here for the security and the compliances. Okay, and the next one would be like continuous feedback and the improvement. So continuous feedback and the improvement that comes from the monitoring and the observability. So we'll be having several tools that we can detect the issues, optimize the performance, and enhance the user experience. Okay, so this is what it is. And here we can see the traditional SDLC challenges and the DevOps solutions. So the first one would be that slow and infrequent releases, right? So in a traditional SDLC that follows an approach called waterfall model, where the developer work on a project. So the project that can goes for a month to month before releasing a software. So if there are any bug, the process has to be repeated again and again. So there is no releases happening, and the releases can be slow and also the infrequent releases. All right. Um, then after we got this agile methodology, so the agile methodology that step forwarded. So agile break down the development into a small and the iterative cycle. So as we see in the previous video, so if you haven't checked the previous video of the SDLC methodology, please do check out the video. And also I can give a link in the description. Also I can just tag the video in the top so that you can able to check it. So agile uh, it does help the development into a small pieces, and it can be a iterative cycle. It should be like a sprint. Typically, it should be like in a 2 weeks once. So each task that can be decided in a sprint. So 2 to 3, I mean like 2 weeks once. The task that must have to be completed. So it can be discussed in the weekly connect call. So it is based out of the features. What are the features that we wanted to develop for the application, and what are the thing that we have to test it within the weeks. So it is related to the incremental of this particular product development. However, the agile only focused on the software development, right? So it doesn't solve any issues related to the deployment and the infrastructure related automations and infrastructure, and also the operations, right? So then the solution that we have is that the SDL, I mean, sorry, the DevOps solution. So it is having two different kind of workflow. As I said, continuous integration, continuous deployment, and then we have the another one, continuous delivery. So continuous deployment and the continuous delivery more are similar. So we will see that in the upcoming videos too, and also the upcoming lectures. So with the help of this DevOps, the development team uh, operate like a faster, and whenever there is a new feature that is developed, that can be updated here. Also, um, it should be prepared in a small batches, like whenever there's a new feature that is developed. So once the commit that has happened, then the background there we have the CI/CD pipeline that is created. With the help of this CI/CD pipeline, it is having several phases like build, test, some image scanning kind of thing, source code scanning, and the building the Docker images and deploying into some CNCF tools like Docker or the Kubernetes environment. So the small batches can be delivered quickly. So if there are something goes wrong, it can be fixed immediately, right? So in here, the CI/CD pipeline are used to automate the code integration, deployment, and allowing the daily or even multiple releases per day, right? Instead of waiting for a monthly basis. Yeah. So also we have this deployment strategy to ensure that the update happened without any downtime, where the user can able to switches the version. So say for example, the users are working in a version of version 1.0. They wanted to switch into version 1.1 without any downtime. We could able to switch the version update seamlessly, right? Okay. The second one would be like the manual error and the inconsistencies. So the problem in the traditional SDLC lifecycle, where the developer write the code on their local machine and it is working in that particular time when they move this particular code into any of the servers, whether it could be like the testing server or like some SAT server or like in a production server, maybe it can crashes because of the environment is different and the dependencies are different and um, maybe the OS or kind of environment or like there might be various of reasons, right? So these are the main problem that we have in the traditional SDLC, and also we'll be having this manual testing. So earlier it was like before coming to this automation, we used to test the application in a manual way, right? Which causes the slowness and unreliable and most of the bug that can be hide from our eyes. So it can be founded in a late. So the solution would be like we have this DevOps approach where we can automate the software development life cycle and also the infrastructure, right? So the DevOps ensure that the consistent environment across the development, testing, and the production, and also automating testing, automation testing, which help to find the bugs early, and also it can easily to help fix earliest as possible, and it is ensuring that the code quality or the software quality in a more efficient manner. Maybe in an example, companies are having automated testing pipeline. Maybe that used to catch the bugs before impacting uh, before impacting the software, which is used by the users, right? And the next one would be like silos, teams, and lack of collaboration. So this is where the problem, as I already mentioned, that developers and the operations team have the uh, uh, silos in between them. They do not communicate well. It kind of relay race where each runners throw a button over the wall. Maybe instead of passing properly, they, they won't communicate easily. So they used to blame the developers which the endpoint that doesn't work and which is not as per the design that we have, and also the developers they used to blame the testing team. This is how it is designed, and this is how I developed, and the testing was not good. So this can be avoided. All right. So the other thing also, if you say the developer write a code and into some and it can be centered into the testers. So the testing team they found some bug and back to the developer, but there is no struggle to communicate them back in the developer, right? Because of the manual testing, they didn't need to capture all the errors documented, right? Some error cannot be found, operations team deploy the code which can lead the application to crashes, right? So in this particular problem, we have a solution that which is the DevOps, where the cross functionality collaboration and shift left testing that comes. So DevOps ensure and breaks the silos and ensure team working together from start. developers and testers work along, which the way in the development process where we can create some continuous integration. So the developer build, test, and the code can be tested, and this can be give some continuous feedback on that particular uh, software. And the next one would be like difficulty in managing and scaling and maintaining the code, right? So if you see, there is a website that is running on the server. When there is that continuous traffic that comes in that specific time, the server may get crashes, right? So because they cannot able to handle the load in this particular um, um, time of period, the solution that we have is the DevOps methodology. So application automatically scale up and scale down based on the traffic. Just like whenever you need some extra resources, it can be scaled application. And also, if you see, mm, right now we have um, current scenario, many of the companies they are moving from monolithic into the microservices, right? So if you see the microservices architecture, the monolithic and the microservices, instead of the single large application, uh, the services are broken into smaller pieces, right? And independent unit. So it can e- so as a DevOps or the operation team, they can easily scale the component, right? So this is one of the main thing that we can also focusing on this particular DevOps solution. Okay, and the, there we have another thing also, the observability and the monitoring thing. So in DevOps, we have a monitoring tools to detect issue before the users are affected by using some monitoring tools. So in the next slide, we are going to see uh, the role of DevOps in SDLC. So DevOps enhances the SDLC by integrating automation, monitoring, and continuous feedback, improving the software quality and deployment speed. It ensures that the smooth transition between the development, testing, and the production. So as I mentioned that it can be covered in the previous slide. So we'll be having two different kind of workflow, which is continuous integration, and the continuous development. So the continuous integration is nothing but the developer who used to integrate, I mean like who used to develop the code and it can be pushed into the repository. So the continuous integration, it can be connected with the several kind of tool, which is like Sonar Cube. Sonar Cube is for security scanning, the code quality scanning, and also we'll be having this testing automated testing environment where we can test our application in the CA phase, and also we'll be having application to build in order to deploy it in the application, I mean like the servers, right? So the different workflow, the another workflow that we have is continuous deployment. So automates the release process, ensuring fast and reliable software deployment. So in this particular phase, once the code that has been built and it can be packaged and deliver into the server. So in this specific phase, it automates the delivery of the application and the deployment of the application that can be ensure the fast and the reliable software deployment. So CI/CD benefit, as I already have that in the previous slide. So we have this first one is faster release, reduced manual errors, improved software quality, and the quick feedback and the loops. So that's it. Thank you for being here, and please support my YouTube channel, and please do like this video if you like the content, and please do comment if I need to improve any area, and also subscribe to my YouTube channel. And thank you so much. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.